Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Shadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanitanstam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Swayam Prakash Prabhu ji, Dandat Pranams.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu ji, Dandat Pranams.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu ji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandat Pranams to all. Today, we welcome all of you for the today's morning program, Nityam Bhagavatha Sevaya. And today, we are very fortunate to have His Grace Swayam Prakash Prabhu again in our Nityam Bhagavatha Sevaya. And Prabhu will enlighten us on Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 4th chapter, verses 4 and 5. Over to you, Prabhu ji. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraet. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Today we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, text chapter 4, text 4 and 5. Both the 4th and 5th verses are, it is not in the regular, it is like a prose. I'll just try to recite. Nabhistu yatha bhilascham suprajastvam avarudhyati pramoda paravihvalo gadgadaksharaya girasvairam grihita naraloka sadharmam bhagavantam. Okay, he's sharing. Purana Purusham Maya Vilasitamatir Vatsatate Sanuragam Upalalayan Param Nivrittim Upagataha. Due to getting perfect son according to his desire, King Nabhi was always overwhelmed with transcendental bliss and was very affectionate to his son. It was with ecstasy and a faltering voice that he addressed him, "My dear son, my darling." This mentality was brought about by Yogamaya, whereby he accepted the Supreme Personality of Supreme Lord, the Supreme Father, as his own son. Out of his supreme goodwill, the Lord became his son and dealt with everyone as if he were an ordinary human being. Thus, King Nabhi began to raise his transcendental son with great affection, and he was overwhelmed with transcendental bliss, joy, and devotion. Purport by His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The word Maya is used in the sense of illusion. Considering the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be his own son, Maharaj Nabhi was certainly in illusion. But this was transcendental illusion. This illusion is required. Otherwise, how can one accept the Supreme Father as his own son? The Supreme Lord appears as the son of one of his devotees, just as Lord Krishna appeared as the son of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. These devotees could never think of their son as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for such an appreciation would hamper their relationship of parental love. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swahpadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kapa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadras Bhadrabhyam Jagannataya Te Namah Mukam Karoti Vachanam Pungam Lankayate Giriyatamaham Mande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hare Krishna. So that I will call the devotees for this opportunity to glorify the Lord, so that by glorifying the Lord, may my heart get purified. So once one devotee was telling that one of the acharyas mentioned, or he says that the glories of the Supreme Lord is like the ocean, and with the contaminations or conditionings which one has, my heart may be like the gutter water. But when the gutter water flows into the ocean, because of the vastness of the ocean or the Ganga, the gutter water also will get purified. The same way, when although I may have a lot of contaminations and little realizations, but at least by glorifying the Lord, hope is that the heart may get purified. So with that, I just try to share whatever little bit of understanding I've got reading this purport of Srila Prabhupada, and based on what I've heard from my superiors in the parampara. So in this verse, especially it is the first verse is mentioning about how Maharaj Nabhi, when he got the the son, that is the Rishabhadev, as his own son. Now, it was his desire to have the Supreme Lord as his son, as we see in other cases also, when so many times the devotees desire to have the Lord as their son. And it is not so easy that to get the son or the Lord as one son. So one has to do so much of austerities, tapasya, and so much of intense desire to have the Lord as their son. If we carefully see, even in case when Prabhupada also mentions here of Mother Yashoda and Vasudeva and Devaki, and as well as the love of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, if we carefully see that Devaki and Vasudeva wanted to have the Supreme Lord as their son. For that, what all they had to undergo? So they were ready to get killed, or they were ready to be put behind the bars. And so much of in front of her eyes, Mother Devaki had to see the 6 of her children being killed. Especially for a mother, this is the most painful situation, because caring for the son for carrying in the womb for 9 months, and that because it's a part of the body, or the love or the attachment toward the child is more. And with that, when this happens, it's really unbearable. And she was ready to bear all those pains to get the Lord as her son. And not only it stopped there, that as soon as the son was born, Krishna left them and went to the other place. First thing is one may question that how come that I have got the son, then how can he be separated from me? He should be with me. No. It is completely out of selfless love or to give pleasure to the Lord. There was not even a tinge of iota of desire that I want to enjoy by this, or okay, let me get the Lord as my son for my pleasure. No. Or for oneself. No. It was completely for, I want to have the Lord as my son so that I can serve. So here the basis of the whole this is of service. So that how can I give pleasure to the Lord and how can I serve? So with that, they were ready to undergo any amount of pain despite all the odds which they came in their life. The same with Vasudeva also. So that is the price one may have to pay to get the Lord as one son. At the same time, here completely, as I said, the whole mood is that of the service. The Lord also reciprocates according to that. Just like in this case, either the King Nabhi, or in the case of Devaki or the Yashodamaya, if they remember, oh, this is the Supreme Lord who is here as my son, then what will be their attitude? Or if you consider the Gopas, if they all consider them as their that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, then their attitude will be that of the awe and reverence. They will not be able to express the different relationships of the rasas. They cannot exchange. Because of which the Lord puts them under the Yogamaya so that may they get illusioned to think that, oh, this is my son. Even when the same Supreme Lord came as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and I think Chaitanya Bhagavatha, it comes that once I don't remember the exact this one. Mother Shachi chastises like Nimai for doing some small mischief. And then Nimai says, "Do you know who I am?" Like, no. Like he goes on to tell, "I am this. Sorry, it is, I think. The Krishna tells, Krishna and Balaram, Mother Yashoda was caring for, like, no, Krishna does some, this one. Then Balaramji says, "Do you know who is this?" He is the same, like, he has taken the avatar of Kurma, Vatsya, Raha, Narsimha and all. And she says, "Is it that all the avatars has to take up, has to appear in my home only?" And like again, she continues to chastise and punish them because of their naughty things. So, because when they see that, see them as the Supreme Lord, then they cannot have the exchange of the rasas. In all the five basic pancha rasas, which are the primary rasas, in that the basis is the servitude. That is there in all the rasas. With that, the other rasa gets added up. Just like in case of the Vatsalya rasa, it is the Dasya rasa, but Vatsalya, serving or as a parent. Or Madhurya also, serving as a lover. It is not for one's own pleasure. So that's why to give them that they have the desire, and Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita also, Ye yathamam prapadante, how you approach me, accordingly I reciprocate. And there they want to serve as a parent or as a lover. And so accordingly Krishna makes the arrangement, and Krishna's Yogamaya does this whole arrangement. In the spiritual world, the Yogamaya is there. In the material world, Mahamaya is there. So the Maya, as here also Prabhupada tells, that this mentality was brought about by Yogamaya, whereby he accepted Lord as a Supreme Father, the Lord who is the Supreme Father as his own son. So here the Yogamaya is like putting him in illusion. So it is both the Yogamaya as well as the Mahamaya, who is the expansion of Yogamaya in this material world. The job of Yogamaya and Mahamaya is both are same. Both of them, what they do is nothing but put the living entity in illusion. So they make both of them forget. Both of them make the people forget, the Mahamaya as well as Yogamaya. The Mahamaya makes one forget that he is the servant of Krishna and his eternal responsibility is to serve. So when he forgets it, then what he does is he tries to enjoy for oneself and tries to become selfish and try to see how I can enjoy whatever is available. Because his desire is to enjoy, and Krishna gives the living entity all the freedom to choose what they want. He doesn't interfere with their free will. So he gives them then opportunity to forget Krishna and become selfish and try to enjoy for oneself. And that's what the Mother Yoga Mahamaya does, by which they are illusioned and they stay in this material world trying to become happier, trying to find out pleasure in this, all the things available. So that is what the Mahamaya does. Whereas on the other hand, the Yogamaya also does the same thing of putting the living entity in illusion, making him forget that he is like makes them forget that although the Supreme Lord is there in front as their son, but they don't see him as a Supreme Lord. Puts a covering, they see them as their own son, or with love and attachment, just like a mother chastises, they chastise, they punish, all that they do. So if that is not there, then there cannot be any parental affection or the as a lover or as a Sakyaras, that cannot be there. So that's why we see in Vaikuntha, we never see the Lord of Vaikuntha, Vishnu, having a Sakya-rasa or Vatsalya-rasa with anybody. Like we never see that some of the, we never heard that Jay and Vijay, who are the servants, the doorkeeper, they go and they put their hand on Lord Vishnu and speak or something. Or somebody goes and climbs on the shoulder of the Lord or something. We don't see. Or like on the other hand, if you see all the Gopas, they are friends of Krishna, and what was their interaction? They would like always jump on Krishna, sometimes tell Krishna to open the mouth and put the samosa, stuff it with some flour and put it in the mouth. And they would not treat Krishna as a supreme lord or something with honor. And they were having the friendly relationship as a Sakya. For what purpose? To give pleasure to Krishna. Always their desire was not that how can I enjoy for myself. No, that was always their desire was to give pleasure to Krishna. So the same way, in any of these relationships, the basis is the service. So that's why the job of both the Mahamaya and Yogamaya is the same. One is for one's self-interest, for the selfish purpose. She covers so that the living entity can enjoy. Just imagine that the living entity who wants to enjoy in this material world, he remembers his eternal relationship with the Lord, his responsibility as a jiva to serve the Lord, and ultimately he cannot be independent. He has to follow the instructions given by the Lord for his own benefit. If he remembers it, then he cannot enjoy at all. So he has a desire to enjoy. So for him to enjoy, he has to forget that. So that's what the Mahamaya does. And it is also the case that both Yogamaya and Mahamaya, they carry some things in their hand. Yogamaya carries a lotus flower and the Mahamaya carries a Trishula in her hand. So when one agrees to be under the lotus or the shelter or the want to be on the lap of Yogamaya, she with her lotus blesses the living entity so that he can become more and more eager to serve and give pleasure to the Lord eternally. Whereas if one doesn't want that, if he puts oneself under the Mahamaya, then the Mahamaya with her 3 trident, she tries to pierce the person, prick. And what are the 3 trident? What the 3 trident represent? It is Adhyatmika Klesha, Adhibautika Klesha, Adhidevika Klesha. Suffering from one's own body and the mind, suffering from the external sources, suffering from the natural calamities. With those 3 things, she keeps pricking, piercing, so that the person will get reminded, oh, this is not the place or this is not what I should be doing. It is like a reminder call. We snooze it whenever the alarm rings. We snooze, snooze, snooze. Snooze means what? Again it's going to ring. You snooze it, again after some time it will ring. The same way, Maya Devi gives pierces, then we will get pained and then we may do some puja or whatever it is and then again reduce. Then again pierces. Because her job is to remind us that this is not the place where one should be eternally living. This is the place we are here to purify ourselves and go back to the lap of Yogamaya, where to serve the Lord. Because Jiver Swarupa Krishna Nityadas, that is the eternal Swarupa of the living entity. And to go to that, one cannot be with the selfish, enjoying mentality for oneself. There the mindset should be of to serve, to give pleasure to the Lord. So for that, here the Mahamaya keeps reminding, oh, this is not the place, this is not the place. Then when he keeps getting pierced, after some time he may think, oh, why I am suffering? What is the cause of my suffering? How can I get out of this suffering? That time, the Lord will do the necessary things for such a living entity, come to the association of the devotees, and then realize what is his eternal uh, relationship with the Lord, and again come back to his natural state of serving the Lord. So that is the relationship, or the how the both the Mahamaya and Yogamaya work, putting the living entity in illusion. One for the sake of uh, giving pleasure to the Lord, and the other is for the same purpose. Both of their desire is that every living entity should serve the Supreme Lord. What Yogamaya does is, by covering, makes the living entity serve the Lord, and the Mahamaya, by piercing, makes the living entity that leave this place and go to the spiritual world where you have to serve. So that way, both of their job is the same, but in a different way. And here we see that how the Nabhi, the king Nabhi, when he got Rishabdev, the Supreme Lord, as his son, he forgot that it is the Supreme Lord, and he is so affectionate towards him, the fatherly affection. And the Lord also wants to experience that. It is not that he is like he is Rasa Shekara, he is a relisher of all the rasas. So he wants to relish different rasas with his devotees. So that's why he gives that opportunity for all the living entity also. So with that, the King Nabhi was having the parental affection towards his son. And in the next, again, like now it mentions about how Nabhi, although he was so affectionate towards his son Rishabhadev, who was the supreme personality of Godhead, but still, what was his next action is mentioned in the next verse. We'll read the purport and we'll discuss. Viditanuragam apura prakriti janapado rajanabhir atmajam samayasetu rakshayam abhishitya brahmanesu panidhya nidhaya saha merudevya vishalayam prasannani nipunena tapasa samadhi yogena naranara narayanakyam bhagavantam vasudevam upasinah kalena tat tan mahimanam avapa. King Nabhi understood that his son Rishabhadeva was very popular among the citizens and among government officers and ministers. Understanding the popularity of his son, Maharaj Nabhi enthroned him as the emperor of the world to give protection to the general populace in terms of the Vedic religious system. To do this, he entrusted him into the hands of learned Brahmanas who would guide him in administrating the government. Then Maharaj Nabhi and his wife Meru Devi went to Badrikashrama in the Himalaya mountains, where the king engaged himself very expertly in austerities and penances with great jubilation. In full samadhi, he worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Naranarayana, who is Krishna in the plenary expansion. By doing so, in course of time, Maharaj Nabhi was elevated to the spiritual world known as Vaikuntha. So amazing to see the complete contrary in the just in two verses we are able to see there this one. Here in the first one it is mentioned that how Nabhi got the Supreme Lord as his son, and he forgot that he is a Supreme Lord, and he was so affectionate towards him, calling him that, oh my dear darling, oh my dear son. And at the same time, that means that the first part shows his attachment And so the second verse is saying that how he did his duties and again he was detached. Although it is a kind of one way question that how is that he is a supreme Lord and the ultimate goal or the purpose of the life is to develop attachment to the Lord, then why he is going to the forest? He could have stayed with the supreme Lord in the house itself. Because the Lord is there, why to go to the forest? If the goal of the life is to develop love and attachment to the Lord. So the great souls, they show that till the time one is in this world, they follow the laws of the world, so that like now yadyadacharti shrestha tatat devetaro jana sayat pramanam kurte lokas tad anuvartate. King Nadi, he being the king, if he doesn't follow the varnashrama system and set an example to the others also may stay in the home. Although Nadi, by staying at home, he could have got benefited, or he would have had the association of his son, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All the other people, they will see him, they will think that, oh, king is at home, so let us also stay at home only and get attached to our own children, by which they would go down because of that attachment. So, to set an example to all the other people, like now, so wonderfully, uh, uh, King Nabhi, he when he observed that everybody loved Rishabhadev, he put him in the custody of the Brahmanas, so that he can be guided by the Brahmanas to rule the administration, to take care of the administration. And then he left for the Badrikashrama, where he can directly meditate on the Supreme Lord, completely being absorbed. He can go back to the spiritual world. So we'll read the purport of Prabhupada. When Maharaj Nabi saw that his son Rishabhadev was popular with the general populace and the government servants, he chose to install him on the imperial throne. In addition, he wanted to entrust his son into the hands of learned Brahmanas. This means that a monarch was supposed to govern strictly according to the Vedic principles under the guidance of learned Brahmanas, who could advise him according to the standard Vedic scriptures like Manusmriti and similar Shastras. So here we see that when the moment he understood, like no, the citizens loved his son, who is going to be the next heir of the throne, he immediately gave him the that position. We see all these kings who were like religious kings, whom we see in the in the entire scriptures. We see them that they were very responsible in terms of even Dashrath Maharaj. When he didn't had the son, he was very much hankering for a son. Not for the sake of that, oh, I want to enjoy, who will take care of me when I become old. No, that was not the worry. The worry was that if I don't get the son, as a king, I'm not doing my responsibility properly of giving the right heir, or the whole citizens of the country are like the children of the king. So I am not doing my service to the whole entire kingdom of giving a nice king who will take care of them in the future. So that was their service attitude, because of which they would hanker to have the son. And when they would have the son, at the right time, when they see that he is now capable of taking care of the whole entire administration and rule the kingdom and take care of the citizens properly, they would enthrone the whole kingdom into their hands. That's what we see when the Dashrath Maharaj, when he saw that all the Ayodhyavasis, they loved Lord Ram, immediately he decided that now it's a time to make Lord Ram as the king. And he goes and puts his desires in front of Vasishtha, and who also approves that, yes, now you can do that. You can enthrone Lord Ram, do the Pattabhisheka and make him as the next king. So the same way, they would be so responsible yet detached. This is one thing which as a sadhakas we should also try to develop in our life. General tendency is when we are responsible for something, we become attached. Or when we want to detach or from ourselves from something, then we become irresponsible. Even in our service or to the people, suppose if you are attached to particular service, or or sorry, if you want to do any service responsibly, we need to be attached. Otherwise, if I don't have the attachment toward the service of the people, then I cannot do it properly to the service. If I'm not uh, attached, like no, to my service or to renting something, or a father is not attached to the children, then he cannot be responsibly take care of them. But at the same time, in the name of detachment, if one is trying to detach, one may become irresponsible. Anyways, I should not be attached to my son or the service, so why should I be like, let him do whatever he does? So that is a specialty of bhakti, that how one should be attached yet responsible yet detached. One should do all his duties and service very responsibly, yet one should be detached, understanding that the attachment should be for the seva and to the Lord, not to the particular kind of service or to the people. Because understanding that, yes, each living entity is independent, and each living entity is coming with their own baggage of karma and the previous whatever samskaras are there. As a father or a mother, I do responsibly whatever I am supposed to do, and leave the rest in the hands of the Lord for him to take care. So here we see that just to give the example of being responsible and attached, that one. So once I heard uh, simple example which really was very easy to understand this concept. Rashampu gave this. He said that there are two friends, Ramu and Shamu. So Ramu had to go to US for 6 to 8 months. He came to Shamu and told that, Shamu, I'm going to US for 6 to 8 months, and I have purchased this new home theater, which is really very good. I love it very much. But if I don't use it for 6 to 8 months, it may become damaged, or it may get some problem happen. So please, I want it that I keep it in your home. You use it for the 6 to 8 months, so that it after coming back, I'll take it. So Shama started using it. Like no, after 6 to 8 months, when he comes back, his response can be of two ways. If he is attached, he may tell, oh, Ramu, I cannot give you because I am very much attached to this, so I want to have it. That is, he became attached to it. Or if he is detached, he may say, Arre, if I use it, I'll become attached to it. Let me not use it, or whatever happens, I'll least bothered. Like no. Otherwise, if I see more and if I hear it and all, then I may become attached. So let it, whatever happens. It's like being irresponsible. So Rasham was saying, being attached is also wrong, being irresponsible is also wrong. One should be responsible but detached. That, okay, now 6 to 8 months I'll use it because he has given, it is his property. I'll use it for 6 to 8 months, and once he comes back, the moment he comes and to the hometown, and the Shamu goes and tells, oh, please take this, it's your property. So that is being responsible and detached. So the same way in our spiritual life, also in our dealings, as well as we should learn from this, that how one should do one's responsibilities so nicely yet detached, understanding that the attachment in this world should be towards the eternal things, not the temporary things. If you are attached towards that which is temporary, ultimately it ends up in the pain. Whereas if the attachment is towards those which are eternal, then one can be peaceful and one becomes happy. Because anything of this world, that being temporary, even if you are attached, that's going to either sooner or later we are going to lose it. And that way, that causes more pain to the heart. So here also, when Maharaj Nabhi saw that King Rishabhadev has come to the right um, uh, state where he can take over the kingdom, now he gave the whole responsibility on his son, and he put him under the guidance of the Brahmanas. Because the Kshatriyas are like the arms, the four Chaturvarna is compared to the body, wherein the head is the Brahmana, the shoulders are like the Kshatriyas, the stomach is the Vaishyas, and the legs are the Shudras. And in the body, it is not that one part is better than the other or more superior. All are needed for the proper functioning of the body. The same way, all the varnas and ashramas are needed for the proper running of the the system or the world. So when the whole community is guided by the brahmanas, then there can be peaceful. It will go in the right direction. Without the head is the one which thinks and gives the directions. If that only is not there, then all other parts will not be able to do its work properly. So that's why it is very much important that the other three classes are guided by the brahmanas. And we see previously also all the kings would do the same thing, send their children to the Gurukula to be under the Guru to learn, and always there would be the Rajaguru who would be guiding the king, because and all the kings would take guidance from the Brahmanas before doing anything, get it clarified whether their understanding or their what they are wanting to do is right or wrong. So, and Prabhupada continues, according to Vedic principle, the society is divided into four categories: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Chaturvarna, Maya system, Guna, Karma, Vibhagasha. After dividing the society in this way, the king's duty to see that everyone executes principles, Vedic principles according to his caste. A Brahmana must perform the duty of a Brahmana without cheating the public. It is not that one attains the name of a Brahmana without the qualification. It is the king's duty to see that everyone engages in his occupational duty according to Vedic principles. So now Prabhupada is bringing the aspect of how this Chaturvarna, which Krishna has created, Maya system, which is based on Guna and Karma. Prabhupada also used to give this example that how the son of a doctor doesn't become a doctor. Like now one has to qualify oneself to become a doctor. The same way, just by being born in the family of Brahmana, one will not become Brahmana. It will have, yes, favorable situation, favorable atmosphere for him to become a Brahmana, for which he has to qualify himself. And it's the duty of the king to make sure that everybody is following this Vedic principles properly according to their varna and ashramas. And this, what the four varnas are there, this can, because it is being created by the Supreme Lord who doesn't have any faults, so the system also, it's a faultless, and it cannot be eradicated or removed. Recent times in the modern days, there's a many concepts like being secular and equality, like there should not be any caste system and all. Yes, the caste system which is there in the outside, it is made by the people when they see that just being born in some particular family, they'll become the same. So, whereas if you see these four varnas are there apparently even in any field of activity, even in the MNC, like no, these four are there. Just like there is a top people who plan in the company, the MDs or the CEOs, they are like the head, the Brahmana class. There are project managers and the project lead and all, they are like the kshatriyas who make sure that everything is happening properly and nobody is harming or attacking the company and all. Whatever is the brahmanas have given the direction, the CEO and MD, they are trying to say execute it. And there is a finance department which is like the Vaishya who takes care of the money aspects and the prosperity of the whole this one, and the Shudra, although they may be big software developers and all in one sense, like the Shudra, this one, that they are the above three classes. So that way this is there even in the all the MNCs. And that's why one should follow these Vedic principles, and Prabhupada tells, continuing, in addition, retirement at the end of life is compulsory. So Prabhupada is going to the next further this one, that how Maharaj Nabi also did that. Maharaj Nabi, although still a king, retired from family life and went with his wife to a place called Badrikashrama in the Himalayas, where the deity Naranarayana is worshipped. The words Prasanna Nipunena Tapasa indicated that the king accepted all kinds of austerity very expertly and jubilantly. It was not that he went there with frustration, or he went there with now karna padta hai, or like now with unhappily or something. No, he was happy to perform this austerities. He did not at all mind leaving his comfortable life at home, although he was the emperor. Despite undergoing severe austerities and penances, he felt very pleased at Badrikashram, and he did everything there expertly. In this way, being fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, Samadhi Yoga, always thinking of Krishna, Vasudeva, Maharaj Nabi, attained success at the end of his life and was promoted to the spiritual world, Vaikuntha. So, we see this in case of everyone, every king, who in the Bhagavatam, whoever comes, this one aspect is very much common, that when one is young, they are sent to the Gurukula to be under the Guru. Even though they were from the royal family, they were put there so that they would perform austerities. Recently, I heard in one of the lecture that why they would, the kings would send their children to the Guru's ashram, where they would stay with very simple things, and while staying in the Guru's ashram, still they are like, no, their ashrama wise they are brahmacharis, that is a age of studying. Why they would send them? The kings also would send their children to the Gurukula, where they had to do hard work, and they had to do tapasya of getting up early and eating some simple things, bringing and giving it to Guru, and then take. Why that hardships were there? So even the kings, why they would do? Although they could have stayed at home, and they could have employed some brahmanas to come home and teach them. They could have had multiple brahmanas teaching different things at home only. Why they didn't do it? So first time I heard this, and it was really very clarifying, that devotee was sharing that the purpose of sending them to Gurukula is that when they undergo the hardships, when they undergo the struggles, and living simply, not simply, living a very simple life, it is conducive. Because it is not that the life is always going to be the bed of roses. Anytime any challenges can come. Even though he's a king, there are so many cases wherein the king was there, and in the war he was conquered and he becomes a prisoner. So if he has performed austerities voluntarily when he is young, then the mind has that it has seen that life of being austere, and in the future, even if he comes under such situations, he will not be bewildered. He can continue his life. If he has not seen, then suddenly if it comes, he'll not be knowing how to do it, how to lead a life. So once, when there was famine in the Europe, there was hardly anything to eat. So one of the servants came and told the princess that people are hungry. They don't have even bread to eat. The princess said, oh, why don't you give, if they don't have bread, so what? Why don't they eat cake? So, because she doesn't have seen what it means to have the being hungry, so she thinks, okay, bread is not that alternative, cake is there, eat cake. So like that, that's why they would be sent to the Gurukula to have that lifestyle, so that they are prepared for the future. And here also, King Nabi went happily perform the tapasya. We see in case of the Bharat Maharaj, he also went to the forest, and the way he had, like, no, it grossly says that he left everything, just like the Malavat, just like we go to the washroom in the morning, and after that we don't feel pain that, oh, I have, from my body so much of stool went away, how can I leave it, I have to preserve it. No, the moment that the work is over, we just want to flush it, we don't want to, it is, one feels so abominable, you want to look at that or to that. But the same way, he considered the wealth and the gold, everything, like the stool, and he left everything. So that was his detachment. And even if you see in case of the whole, this fifth canto, initially comes up Priyarat Maharaj, who also, like, no, wants to leave everything and go, and then again he was called for the service, then he comes and he leaves. Then the Nabi is coming, he also leaves. And just after this, Rishabdev also, he ruled, and when he saw that his children are at the right age, then he leaves, and he completely naked, he starts traveling everywhere. Then afterwards there comes the Bharat Maharaj, who also at the right time he gives up everything and goes for the self-realization to the forest. Although he had a slip, but again he reminded himself that, oh, I did a mistake, and then again in the body of the deer he practiced and he continued and he perfected his life. After that comes the section where the sons of Prajapati Daksha, Haryashvas and Shavalashvas, they the king Daksha also had sent this Haryashvas, 10,000 and 1,000 children to the forest to perform austerities. There Narad Muni comes and tells them, gives them the riddle and tells them the riddle, and they understand it and they renounce everything and go to the continues the lifestyle as the same. So that way, one thing is very much common in the whole of these different characters, which comes that it's very important that one is not just attached to the comforts of the home. He leaves at the right time, not prematurely or something, but at the right time, under the right guidance. And just reading continues the third. This is a way of Vedic life. One must stop the process of repeated birth and death and return home back to Godhead. The words Tan Mahimanam Avapa are significant in this regard. Srila Sridhar Swami says that Mahima means liberation in this life. We should act in such a way in this life that after giving up this body, we will become liberated from the bondage of repeated birth and death. Yes, that for that reason they would leave the home and go, so that they don't want to come back again. They don't want that. Shankaracharya says, no, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Janani, Jatare Shayanam. Like, no, again, I don't want to come in the Jatara or the womb of another mother. So let me go and perform tapasya and remembering the Lord, let me go back to the spiritual world, because that is a permanent place. This is called Jivan Mukti. And what is the Jivan Mukti? There are 8 symptoms which Prabhupada mentions from the Viraraghava Acharya's commentary. Srila Viraraghava Acharya states that in the Chandogya Upanishad there are 8 symptoms of a Jivan Mukta. So this Rupa Goswami Pada also takes in the Bhaktir Samrita Sindhu. He says, Iha yasya harer dasye karmana manasagira nikilashvapi avastasu jivan mukta sauchate. So The meaning is that a person who is acting in Krishna consciousness, who is acting in service to Krishna, with his yasya harer dasya, considering oneself as the dasya or the das, the servant, and karmana manasa gira, that is through his body, karmana, karma, manasa, to his mind and intelligence, and the gira, that's the words. Vikilashwapi avastasu, jivan mukta so uchyate. Like now, he's even while staying in this material world, he's a liberated. Although he may be engaged in so many so-called material activities. So he may be of this world, but he's not. He may be in the world, but not of this world. So that's what it. And what are his 8 symptoms? The first symptom of so-called liberated is that he's freed from all sinful activity. Apahata papa. That is the first one. He is not committing any sins. As long as one is under the clutches of Maya in the material energy, one has to be engaged in sinful activity. Bhagavad Gita describes that such people as Dushkritinaha, which indicates that they are always engaged in sinful activity. One who is liberated in this life does not commit any sinful activity. That's the first one. Sinful activity involves illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. So that way, a Jivan Mukta will not be breaking this or falling into the trap of these 4 sinful activities. Second one, another symptom of a liberated person is Vijara, which indicates that he is not subjected to miseries of old age. Another symptom is Vimrityu. A liberated person prepares himself in such a way that he does not take on any more material bodies which are destined to die. In other words, he does not fall down into the repeated birth and death. Another symptom is Vishoka, which indicates that he is callous to material distress and happiness. Another is Vijighatsa, which indicates that he no longer desires material enjoyment. Another symptom is Apipata, which means that he has no desire other than to engage in the devotional service of Krishna, his dearmost pursuable Lord. A further symptom is Satyakama, which indicates that all his desires are directed to Supreme Truth, Krishna. He does not want anything else. He is Satya Sankalpa. Whatever he desires is fulfilled by the grace of Krishna. First of all, he does not desire anything for his material benefit. And secondly, if he desires anything at all, he simply desires to serve the Supreme Lord. That desire is fulfilled by the Lord's grace. That is called Satya Sankalpa. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out that the word Mahima means returning to the spiritual world, back home, back to Godhead, back to Vaikuntha. Sri Shukadeva says that the word Mahima means that the devotee attains the qualities of the Supreme Personality Godhead. This is called Sadharma, or the same quality. Just as Krishna is never born and never dies, his devotees who return to Godhead never die and never take birth within this material world. So, while reading these 8 symptoms of a Jivan Mukta, if we carefully see the life of Srila Prabhupada and all other acharyas, they being Jivan Mukta, although they come to this material world, but they are not of this world, or they are not affected by these things of this material world. We see all this quality perfectly fitting in the acharyas and the great souls who exhibited all this without being attached to any of these things. Only their attachment for the service. They were never affected by the material happiness or the distress of this world, and they didn't had any desire for material enjoyment, nor they had any attachment other than the service to the giving pleasure to the Supreme Lord. And they always desired to spread the glories of the Lord, not oneself, or not to keep oneself in the limelight. So with that, they exhibit all these 8 qualities which Srila Viraraghava Acharya is mentioning. So we are grateful that Prabhupada has given us this, through his purport and his own life, he has given us this wonderful opportunity to understand it, and then maybe be able to practiced whatever best corresponding. So I just pause here if anybody has any comments or queries or corrections. I'm open. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Prabhu, where to get the 8 symptoms of Jivan Mukta?
Sorry?
8 symptoms of Jivan Mukta, you said, no? The last. When I couldn't get to read that.
It is there in the purport itself, Mataji. Prabhupada is quoting from Veera Raghavacharya.
Oh, it's there in purport.
It is there in the purport. The whole thing is there in the purport.
Prabhu, one very basic doubt is Rishabhadeva appeared like Krishna in Chaturbhuja Rupa, or he is born in the womb of Nabi's life?
So, I have not heard of the Chaturbhuja Rupa, because all of the lords, like no, when they appear, it is they need not all the times appear, but it is not like the birth of any ordinary child. Also, when the Lord appears in the this one.
So he appears from the womb of Nabi's wife.
Yeah, but then like again, it is not like that of the worldly this one that much. Like we can understand. Even the appearance of the Vamandev, all those things.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Swayam Prakash Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful class. You beautifully explained the difference between Yogamaya and Mahamaya, and then you explained how actually Mahamaya engages, how Mahamaya actually drives the common people towards the goal of self-realization, and similarly how Yogamaya is actually creating the attachment to the Lord. Thank you, Prabhuji. It was a very beautiful class. Any questions or comments from the devotees?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, very nice session, Prabhu, Swayam Prakash Prabhu. Prabhu, so what I understand from this lecture is that both Mahamaya and Yogamaya, they favor the person who wants to be in the devotional service, Prabhu.
Like now, who wants or who doesn't want. That is there. That's why it is said that like now Mayadevi is doing a thankless service. Prabhupada used to tell that.
Yeah. Normally, Prabhu, we say that, whenever our mind is distracted, when we are in the devotional service, we pray for the Lord, Lord, please give us the Yoga Maya, remove Mahamaya karke. So I was also thinking that, Mahamaya works against our, devotional service. But in this lecture, end of the day, after having undergone a lot of pains, one decides to come back to the devotional service. That's how the explanation what I heard, Prabhu. Am I right, Prabhu?
Correct. That's what Maya Devi is also giving all the suffering to remind a person, but it depends on the people. Like now, as I said, give the example of the alarm. Like now, the moment the alarm rings, one may get up. Oh, now it is the time to wake up. It's like a wake up call. But if one doesn't see that, he keeps snoozing it again and again and again. That's the same way the pain comes, suffering comes, then he just tries to evade it, and again something comes, again try to set right it. Life after life, life, it can go on. But still Mahadevi keeps reminding and giving that reminders.
So let me understand in the plain language, Prabhu, by an example. Say for instance, I am into some business, Prabhu. I get a business opportunity, so that I get into that business opportunity. So that actually it drags me deep into the material nature, activities. So that means to say Mahamaya gives us this opportunity. Although we are undergoing the pains, we will not feel that pain, because sometimes, we may have to work overnight, and we may not be able to attend devotional services. So that way it drags us into the materialistic life. So that Mahamaya, when we realize that, we have done the mistake, at that point of time, we come back to the Krishna conscious. So at that point of time, Yoga Maya gives us, attachment to the Lord. Is that the process that my understanding is correct, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Even if the second part is yes, whole is correct. Even just a slight addition to that is, if like in the business, if is getting into a business and a lot of money is coming, it depends on his consciousness why he's doing it. It need not be that always the Mahamaya giving him that, trying to drag him to the middle. If by that success in the business, if it is taking him for his self enjoyment or self pleasure, and he's trying to enjoy, yes, that is, then it is like going in the wrong direction. But if by getting more and more, if his thoughts are, oh, now I'm getting more and more Lakshmi, how can I engage it in Krishna's service? How can I preach more? How can I distribute more books? Or his thoughts are going in that direction. He's not seeing that the more profit is coming for myself to enjoy, but to serve more, then that is purely like spiritual. That is not material. So that way, just with the activity external of getting or losing is not the things, but with what consciousness is accepting it, that is a something.
Prabhu, to get that consciousness, do you mean to say Yogamaya is also acting parallelly along with the Mahamaya?
They are always there. With what? Like now, it is like either we are in the lap of Mahamaya or Yogamaya. So if you are here or there, like that way.
Yes, Prabhu. So a little clarification. So because in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we know that we have to do our karma in the Krishna consciousness. So that means to say that I thought as much as it is the influence of Yoga Maya, but with this explanation, so although I am in materialistic activities with the influence of Mahamaya, but at the same time the influence of Yoga Maya will also be there parallelly, so that my consciousness will not be completely onto materialistic activities. So the results of the materialistic activities I will be offering it to the Lord. So is that my understanding correct, Prabhu?
Yes, the activity doesn't remain. The moment you want to serve, use everything in the service of the Lord, that doesn't remain material. Immediately, it is like the spiritualized. So it is no more just a matter or something. That's why it is Krishna consciousness. It is not the activity in which with what intent or this one is doing, that matters a lot.
Okay. So the final conclusion, as you're telling, Prabhu, even though we are engaged in the materialistic activities, we are under the influence of Yoga Maya, not Mahamaya. As long as our consciousness is that, use the results of the activity in service of the Lord.
Correct. And even that activity also doesn't remain materialistic, because now it is being used for Krishna. So it is a spiritualism. Because just like Prabhupada used to tell, in one sense, the mic is a matter. Mic can be used for singing some mundane movie song, or it can be used to sing a Krishna's bhajan, Krishna's holy name. So although there is a matter, but if it is used for singing this one material sound, then it is materialistic. Whereas it is used for singing Krishna's holy name, the mic is like kind of a spiritual. It is spiritualized.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for the clarifications. Correct. Hare
Krishna Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful class. We will end today's session with Vaishnava Pranam.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so
Dhanyavad
much.
Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, devotees. We will meet again tomorrow morning. Hare Krishna. Good afternoon.